What's going on, YouTube? It's Jamil here. I'm going to do something that I haven't done in a while. I guess in about a few months. Um, One of my friends is a girl, or that's a girl. I guess was kind of, upset that her guy ended up cheating on her and all this other mess. You know, it's nothing new, but it got me thinking. Why do guys cheat? I don't know about females, but I can give you the best example or best reasons and just take you inside the mind of a guy and kind of break down what steps guys can probably end up going through to where they end up cheating. And we're not talking about fuckboys. Those are in a different class of their own. This isn't what I'm talking about. I'm talking about like a guy that is pretty genuine. Some of the people who cheat, and in fact, a lot of the people who cheat are very, very, very genuine people. And it's just, it's not necessarily an honest mistake, but how should I start? Well, I want to start with my experience. Well, first off, I never had a girlfriend. I've never cheated, but there is something I kind of went through, to where I guess afterwards I can now understand maybe this is how guys are cheating. So let me break it down to you. I am a guy who absolutely cannot get a girlfriend, period. I'm just super, super terrible with women. A lot of guys are. And, it gets to a point to where, you get so miserable. I mean, it's not that without having a girlfriend is miserable or anything, but eventually, if you go an X amount of years being single, it's going to get to you. You're going to, see those rare couples every now and then again that's like super, super happy, and that what they have is real, and it's just like you'll crave something like that every now and then. And it's just, especially in my case, since I've never had a girlfriend, it's just like, yeah, I live day to day with no stress, but it feels like I'm just like an empty shell walking. Yeah, I got friends, life is good, I'm content, but I'm not happy. There's a difference. Living life with no stress is great, it's freaking awesome, but it's just like, every now and then I'll meet a girl and she'll like stand out above the rest, and I'm just like, wow, this is a very, very unfamiliar feeling to me. So it's whatever. But anyway, there was if you're a guy like me who has a bunch of trouble, just absolutely just horrible when it comes to women, maybe getting a girlfriend like once a year kind of thing, you get to a point to where you start to settle. That's problem number one. See, guys like us, we tend to settle because, we're single for so long, and we don't even have our standards that high. It's just, I don't know what the deal is. I don't know why we can't get a date or whatnot, let alone get past the first date. I don't know, but it's just like the moment you do, you're just like overjoyed on the inside, and then you'll just decide to stick with that person. Like, you'll decide to settle. Even though you can probably do better, you don't, because it's a subconscious thing. When we're single for so long and you finally get something, maybe like, again, once a year, subconsciously you're just gonna think that this is the best that I can do. Maybe this is the best that I can deal. You know what I mean? And it's not your fault. I mean, that's just how we're programmed to think. We go a long time without something, and then we finally get something. We're going to think this is the best we can do. And so, that's what I did. This woman that I was once talking to, and I still talk to from time to time, I thought that was the best I could do. I settled. And that's problem number one. You settled. Problem number two, I got to a point to where I needed help. I didn't need help, but it's just like I was confused because, I thought this would be good. I thought I would be feeling feelings of joy and happiness, and sometimes, for some you would for like a week or a month when all the new feelings just kind of you start to get used to it and it dies down, but then you start feeling that lackluster, and it's just like, what happened? I called up my friend. I never felt a thing like the entire time. Like I didn't feel any feelings of joy and happiness, but I ended up calling up my friend because I gave him advice about his last relationship, and I told him, well, look, you remember that last video I made about, women and constantly prejudging based on initial attraction and not giving actual good, genuine guys a chance, and how instead of saying, well, I'm not attracted to him initially, he doesn't have this, so I can't date him, I mentioned things like that. Like, sometimes you just gotta take the bat and swing. Most couples that are truly, truly happy will always say something along the lines of, well, I wasn't attracted to him at first, or he was never my type, blah, 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 blah. But it's just like, it's a pattern. Once you learn to break that barrier, break that mindset of the quote-unquote perfect guy or girl, because nobody's perfect. Even if that image is just everything that you thought it was, there's always going to be something. Either whether it's behind closed doors or whatnot. There's always going to be something. There's going to be imperfections. And sometimes, if you really truly see a genuine great guy that even you may not be attracted to, give him a chance, and he may surprise you, is what I said. This is back in the video I made back in September, or was it October? One of the two. Anyway, I took my own advice. She was someone I wasn't initially attracted to, but I knew she was a quality woman because, unlike other women, she had much more patience. She was more understanding of who I was and, the background I came from and my lack of certain things. I have all these things that are just supposed to be understood when it comes to guy-gal interactions. I don't have that understanding because I'm just that bad with women. Very few times I interact with women unless I'm trying to date them. And the thing is, she was very, very, very understanding. She's very loyal, and she gave me more chances than I deserve. I didn't cheat. I didn't do her any wrong. I'm just bad. Like, I'll end up being forgetful sometimes, or sometimes it's just like I choose my words wrong. I mean, and that's another thing that came with the package. I just don't know the right things to say. I'll sometimes say the wrong things, and I won't even know what I said. That's just me. But she was patient, and at that point, I knew she was a quality woman. I knew she was one at least worth giving a chance, worth trying out, worth doing. But I still haven't felt anything over the course of a couple of weeks. And I called my friend and asked. Told him the whole situation. And told him about, me taking my own advice. I don't want to be a hypocrite. How much longer should I give this person? How many chances do I keep giving her? How much time is enough time to determine whether you're going to feel something or not? And again, back to the video, things shouldn't be based on how you feel all the time, because making decisions based off your emotions aren't necessarily the smartest things to do, and emotions always get people in trouble. They mislead you and all this other mess. So I don't make decisions based on emotions. I make decisions based on kind of logic. I mean, she's a quality woman, so yes, she's worth giving a chance, but as my friend told me, when he was in this other relationship, you need to know when is a good cutting point. See, most of the reason why guys cheat, again, is because, one, we settle because we feel like that's the best we can get. And we tend to stick with this. We will try to ride it out as much as possible because, again, In our mind, that's as best as we can get. Two, we don't know what to do when things are kind of just, if you're not feeling it. It's like, as my friend said, you need to know when's the best time to cut it off. Because eventually you will be like me, to where, like, let's say 2 years down the road, you just wake up in the morning, like next to her or whatever, you're just going to wake up and you're just going to be thinking to yourself, what am I doing? Like, what am I doing here? It's just like you're going to feel trapped at this point because you're not happy. You're going to feel trapped. And the thing that people end up doing, because nobody wants to be that person. Nobody wants to be that person to break it off after multiple years of a relationship. I mean, yeah, it's the right thing to do, and it's just like, oh, I'd rather you be honest and be upfront than cheat on me, blah, 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 blah. But be honest, man. Guy or girl, if you are in the relationship for like 4+ years, all those memories, all the connections, all the ties, especially if you know how deeply that person feels for you, I mean, yeah, it's going to hurt them, and obviously it's the right thing to bring it up to them, but be honest. Are you really going to be that person? You're really going to be the one to say it outright in front of them, in their face, and stay there for what happens next? No, most people, especially nowadays, are just not confrontational. They don't want confrontation. So what do? They look for an out. They look for an escape. They look for a way to get out. They look for a way to escape. They're looking for an excuse. So, and it's weird. Like, people that, it's so hard to get a girlfriend when you're single, but when you're with somebody, it's so easy to attract women. I don't know how that works, but that's just how it is. And here you have it. You have a guy that you've been with for 2+ years, especially if they don't have much experience, and then they get a new high, like, you know, that those sparks, that fire. They get something fresh again, and it just revamps everything. They end up cheating, and at this point, at least if they cheated, there's a reason for you to break up with them, rather than them being the bad guy and calling it off. You know, and you personally breaking his or her heart, hurting her feelings, and everybody's going to be looking at you as just like, man, that's fucked up. You know, kind of thing. 4 years and you're going to say it in her face, just like it is. I mean, nobody's going to do that, period. Like, people lose friends about shit like that, but bottom line, that's what happens. We don't know if we can do better. We don't know how much better we can do, because we just can't get anything. It's not like, it's not sex or anything. It's just like we can't even get past the first date. It's just like, if you're one of those, especially if you're one of those guys. This is how I believe most guys cheat. Again, we're not talking about fuckboys. We're talking about actual, real, genuine guys that like to, you know, have their intentions be straight in line, do things by the book kind of thing. You know, eventually you're going to think, you know, all guys are like this. Guys aren't like this. They're only like this if they're not happy. And it's just like, it's hard to notice. It's hard to identify this kind of change in behavior. It's hard to identify when the things they feel are kind of shifting or going stale. It's hard to identify that, and you gotta, I mean, that's something that you or your guy or gal have to talk about and identify these things early, so that way you can just, you know, maybe we should just go our separate ways, no hard feelings, blah, 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 blah. So, you know, one person doesn't get fucked off. And the other thing I want to express about you guys that are like me, who can't get girlfriends. I'm just going to say it just like this. Just because you have an open door doesn't mean you should take it. I'm talking about in terms of just like maybe a date or whatnot. You know, looks aren't everything. If somebody looks attractive, even in my eyes, it doesn't matter. What does matter let me let you in on a secret. You know you found somebody worth taking a risk with, or taking a risk on, or gambling on. You know you found a person worth going the extra mile for if being around them makes you want to do better. You know you've found a person worth fighting for if being close to them, if being near them makes you want to be better. You know you found somebody worth climbing a mountain for if just the thought of them just makes you want, genuinely want to better yourself and develop further as a person, not just to impress them, but because, you know, that kind of a person is just like, it's worth going for that. It's worth going through that kind of development because they deserve it and they're worth it and they deserve nothing less. It's just that kind of thing. And, you know, and as for me, it's very hard to find these kind of women. There's certain women I'm attracted to. And one of them is those that give off this certain spirit, this certain vibe. It's like, especially in the workplace, if you're one of those people to where you're always smiling, always happy, and it's just like every time you're in a room, the room just lights up, it brightens up, and it's just like everybody else is in a good mood. You make sure everybody's always happy, everybody's smiling, you're always smiling every single day, no matter if it's a rainy day or not. And you're just always in a good mood, and you just inherently affect everybody else around you. That's what I'm attracted to. That's the kind of person to where it's just like, wow, you know, I'm attracted to her spirit. That is the kind of spirit I really, really love, especially if you're working. It's like, because that's one of the times where you're the least excited. It's like, who wants to work at a Pizza Hut or a freaking Quick Trip, you know? And I've only ever since I moved, I've only ran into a woman like that twice. One working at Pizza Hut and one working at QT. So that's just something to think about. You know, if a woman like that just kind of just pulls you in, like, not just how she looks, but her spirit. I just have like a keen, acute sixth sense for that. And it's awesome. And if you can find someone like that who just inherently makes you want to go home and like start cleaning your house, or you just want to just give your house a complete makeover or some shit like that, don't waste time. Don't diddle-daddle. Go for it. I want to tell, if you're having trouble, here's what I did today. That same one from QT, she would have said yes if she wasn't in a 4-year relationship. I didn't know this, but I went up, I tried to talk to her the day before, but she was kind of busy. You know, the last thing I told her was I wanted to get to know her better. But she got busy, and so I kind of left her alone. Because, the longer you stand in one spot, the more awkward it gets, and the more you look like a creep. So, I came back today, and I apologized, and I said, sorry about yesterday. She's like, what? What do you have to be sorry about? And, but she was still busy. She got me my shake or whatever, and I started thinking, she's like, well, she's right. What do I have to be sorry about? Like, I meant those things that I said. So it's just like, I came back to her and I said, hey, can I have a minute of your time? And I was like, you know what? You're right. I shouldn't be sorry because I'm not sorry. I'm not sorry. I meant everything I said yesterday, and I do want to get to know you better. Because a person like you with that kind of spirit, with the kind of spirit that brightens the room, that just betters the mood of everyone else around you, that's very hard to find. So I'm going to ask you 3 questions. 1, are you single? 2, what's your favorite flower? 3, I'd like to take you on a date and bring your favorite flower. If you ask a girl those 3 questions, if they're single, obviously, more than likely they will say yes. Don't look away. Don't, talk under your breath. Look them directly in the eye and say it with conviction. Say it with conviction. Let you know that you're serious. Because it was hard looking her in the eye, but I did it because I know what I want. I know what I want, and things that are worth it in this world is going to be worth going through trials and tribulation for. And so that's what I did. Even though it was so hard to look her in the eye, I did it. I looked her in the eye, and I said it with conviction, because at the end of the day, she's worth it. She's worth it. She's what I wanted, and if it worked, then it was worth, going out of my comfort zone. Everything that's worth it is always worth going out of your comfort zone for. So, of course, unfortunately, she wasn't a 4-year relationship. She isn't a 4-year relationship. So, that really does suck. The last time I found someone like that was like 3 months ago. Yeah, that really does suck. But anyway, that is my thoughts on. Let me know if there's anything I missed. What else would make a guy not even want to cheat, but some people use cheating as just an excuse to get out. But what other reasons do you think a guy would cheat? And yeah, what as for you guys, is what I said accurate in terms of that? Do some of you feel like you're just stuck in this place to where it's just like you're trapped and and you look for a way out, because you decided to settle for this one because you figured that this is the best you can do. This is the best you can deal. This is the best you can get. I will be waiting on the other side. I can't wait to hear some of these comments, especially from you women. I will catch you guys in the comments below. All right. Have a good night.